the silicone just squeezed out the outside of it, and so I'm just gonna clean it up. Not, but, right? There it is, kids. Know your noises. Welcome to the Misc list, miscellaneous list of random things that need to get happening in this bus. So follow me on this journey. I don't know, we'll see what happens, right? There's a bunch of random stuff, kitchen faucet, random toilet stuff, vent lines, and yeah, we'll just get that done. So this is gonna be a non-conjoined list video, just random stuff and things. So I don't know, I'm confused. We'll find out. All right, first thing on the Misc list is getting this kitchen faucet in, which as a plumber, this is like a no-brainer, right? You know, so the hard challenge is because these supply lines out of the faucet are like that much too short. I had to buy little tiny, these goofy little water extender things to connect it to the angle stops down there. So whatever, it is what it is. And you know, I will say I'm also choosing to, well, yeah, I'm also choosing to not install the sink first to get the faucet in, because it just makes everything way easier. So there it is, that's one part done. Part two is to hook up these things down here to the water supplies. And it turns out I actually got the wrong adapters, so I can hook this up, but to connect these two I had to go get a different adapter from the hardware store. Again, another trip. Alright, it's that easy, right? So now, like I said, I gotta go to the hardware store, but that's why, because these things were like, you know, just a titch too short, right? So these will be going in here with a little simple male adapter that I gotta get, and that'll be done with that one. So that one's easy, right? Easy. So back from the hardware store, got these adapters, you know, mail by mail. And I used to joke around with when I did plumbing side work for people, I used to joke around saying, do you know why plumbers drink, why they're alcoholics? Is because sometimes a 5-cent piece of rubber or a, you know, $1 piece of brass is keeping you from things working well, right? And so with plumbing, most people think it's easy, but there's so many nuances to plumbing, right? And you gotta get it right, because if it's the wrong threads, the wrong fittings, the wrong whatever, you're gonna have a bad day. So regardless, let's get this finished up. There it is. It's put together now, right? So that's all we need, is little adapters. And one step done, on to the next Misc list. All right, down here on the floor, the next thing in the Misc list is, and I already did one of them, but this is what it is. And so the batteries here underneath the captain's, underneath his chairs for the dinette, right? So I got one battery here, one battery behind that, and one battery here, as well as the inverter over here. So the problem I had is this is the finished floor, right, that hasn't gone in yet. And ideally I want to have the finished floor being on the whole floor of the bus. And as you can see, it won't fit here. It's just a titch too shy. So what I have to go do is go buy some fender washers and some nuts here, right? And so to give you a see here is the chairs are literally being bolstered by extra fender washers. If that means anything to people who understand technical stuff, is there's channel strap holding these seats together into the floor, into the wall. And so I had to add little fender washers here to bolster it up an extra inch to fit the batteries underneath. And so I thought I had done it all that I needed to, but I guess I'm just a 1/4 inch shy. So now that I've bolstered up, you can see the finished floor fits perfectly here, and I know that's the wrong side, but it's gonna go underneath, so you get what I'm working at here. So regardless, that's the next thing in the Misc thing, is to loosen those bolts up, put the extra fender washers in, and we're gonna go from there. So two things are happening here. One, I'm making these original bolts, these are the new bolts. They're longer, right? So I have to make it longer to make it extend. And then the second thing is adding these fender washers. As you can see, there's already some here. Let's push this thing up. And yeah, the new fender washers. Just to double check. Slide the battery underneath. And there's enough. Yay! It fits. It's gonna work, kids. Just barely enough. Just barely enough. Misc list. Next list item. That's just fun to say. Misc list. Nail plates. Nail plates. What nail plates are should be obvious, but maybe to those who don't know, nail plate is a piece of metal, you know, not too thick, sheet metal. And what the purpose is, as you can see, I already put it here for the water lines. But what you do, you stick this into your stud bay or your joist bay so that when you're putting in your screws for your finished ceiling or whatever, you don't throw a screw or a nail through something important, right? So with all these wires now that have been going through here, I got to go through and put nail plates here so that when I'm screwing in the finished ceiling, I don't put a screw through a wire. That'd be a bad thing, right? So like I said, I did it here already for the water, and now I got to do it for the electrical. So down here on the floor again, so kitchen cabinets, right? Here are the kitchen cabinets, and where they come together, there's this beautiful little thing here. I happen to have the same stuff that I used for the shower, and I'm just going to trim it out so it looks all pretty and clean, right? So that when you put it up there, it's a nice clean look, right? And I guess for my friend who does kitchen cabinets, he's like, oh yeah, you can call the kitchen cabinet company and they'll send you something. I'm like, sure, they'll send me something and charge me a whole bunch of money for something that no one's ever going to see. So here's my little hack for that. There you go. Oh, what a weird thing, eh? There it is. So Misc list continues. The next thing I have to do, and this is more function than fashion by any means, but Barry, the guy who has the barn, actually had some leftover Reflectix, and I'm going to be putting this where I painted the windows black, right, to just help reflect the heat out, so I'm not like baking, ow, that's significantly hotter, right, baking the back of my fridge or closet space or whatever. And again, it's just sort of weird janky pieces, but you know what, it's better than nothing, and that's what I'm going to start with, right? I'll take free material and we'll work with it, right? So there we go, right? So it was a bunch of random pieces, but I managed to put it together into this nice square. It's definitely a quilt patchwork of pieces, but it's in there, right? And so that is, it's shiny, right? Way better than the black. And again, it's just going to help reflect the light and the heat out. Right? This is way cooler here than touching that black paint. So one more thing down on the Misc list to the next thing. Spoiler alert, the barnwood ceiling got finished, so look for it in the next video. All right, next on the list, the cover or the vent fan. I've been super excited about this one, getting this one in here. And I put it in here earlier, and when I measured is I got to cut about 1 inch out. So I'm gonna mark that, cut an inch out of here, and we'll get it up there and screwed in. Cool. Got the ring cut. Now to put it up in there, and it's just 4 simple screws, which it stays in there with, so there's that. Yay. And now I'm just gonna screw it in. Work smarter, not harder. Yay. Look at that. Trimmed out. I love that trim is happening. And maybe you can see a little bit better there. There we go. 4 little screws in there. Now I have a vent fan. It's all completed. Yay! Oh my goodness. I get excited by a lot of things, but I'm getting excited by this thing now. I am officially licensed in the state of Michigan. You know, I went through so many different ideas. I wanted Bodhi, B-O-D-H-I. It was available like 2 months ago, but it's not available now. So Bodhi got a different name, but we got traveling. Perfect, right? Traveling Bodhi, why not? Or traveling whatever. The bus is traveling. That's what we do now. So excited to get this thing on here now. There it is. Bodhi is officially licensed. Look at that, everyone. I'm excited. All right, one more thing on the list is the tip-out tray, right? And so I got this kit. Here's the drawer, or the door for the front of the kitchen cabinet, right? And so I removed the back of it and actually going to be using the drawer that was here probably for underneath the bed. Maybe we'll find out. Either way, so this is the next thing, putting the tippy drawer for the thingy, the technical term, the thingy and the thingy with the other thingy. So that's what we're going to do. Go. Other than putting some other screws in there, you know, I think that works, right? And now I gotta fix the tray to there. But let's go. Right? So you can see in an earlier conversation why I needed to not have the sink in here to do this tray, right? Like, yeah, I could have had, you know, done it differently with the sink in here. But right now, like, having the sink in here is huge because what you're seeing is this is where the sink goes, right? So, yeah, just getting this in here and we'll be done soon. So there we go, right? So it tipped out. We got the tray. As you can see, got my tray in there. And yeah, so it's all set up now. Yay. Tip out, tip in. One more thing on the list. And while we're at it, I think what I'm going to do, since I said, like I said, I had to wait to get the sink in until I did this tippy tray, I figured, well, while we're on the boat, let's fish. Let's just mount the sink and get the sink in. And that's going to be just as simple as laying a bead of silicone and dropping the sink in. So let's do that now. So again, this is not my first sink to plumb in, so just using some basic clear silicone, kitchen and bath silicone. I'm going to run a bead around the edge of the sink here and drop the sink in. First I'm going to give it a wipe. Alright, pro tip 4298 part B. if you can grab a sink through that hole before you put the basket strainer, it's a lot easier than trying to grab it from the sides, especially after you have silicone in there. So there it is. Oh my goodness, yeah. Just wiggle it. Give it just a wiggle. Let it set in. Yay. And then, just because my hands are dirty from doing stuff all day, I'm going to put a glove on for safety, kids. Gloves on for safety. The silicone just squeezed out the outside of it, and so I'm just going to clean it up. Now, but, right? There it is, kids. Know your noises, what they mean. Yay. There it is, fully siliconed in there. The sink is set. Now, and the sink is dirty. I think I'm just gonna have to wash it later on, but it is what it is. Now, setting the basket strainer, I have this tub of plumber's putty that I've had for I don't know how long, man. I mean, look at that, just it's looking a little but you know what, you use less than you think you do, right? So just get a little thing, and making snakes, kids. We're gonna make a little snake. That's what we're gonna do. Make a little snake, go around. You know, these things, I will say, come with little seals. I don't trust them. It says like a little foam seal, but like, you know what? Don't trust them, kids. I personally don't trust them. You know what? Make a little snake, and I'll squeeze out, and then you wipe it off, put it back in your tub. There it is. Looks kind of like that. Little donut. Little donut. You know, donut? You want a donut? I got you a donut right here, huh? Got you a donut. And then just the bottom goes underneath. So, you got your little bottom. There's a basket strainer. Like key makes it really easy. You just got a little key, you spin it in there. I love how easy they made this thing, man. I tell you what. Personally, I don't trust this piece of plastic, so I'm going to get me an actual Allen key. Guess I done got one. Got to go with this for now. I was telling you about, right? Just kind of pull it out of there, stick it back in your tub. You use it for another day, I promise you will. And then what I'm also doing is I'm kind of tightening it from beneath too, right? A little bit. And then you take your knife, just clean up that edge. All right, there it is, kitchen sink. Done. Kitchen sink done. I love it. So with that, lots coming together, right? And so the Misc list grows. Kitchen sink in, kitchen faucet in. Look at that. That's beautiful, right? Look at that. Kitchen sink, faucet, sink is installed. Got my tip out tray. We got some good things going on today, right? You know, and then of course the vent fan cover up. So the Misc list grows. The Misc list grows. And by the way, in case you were curious, here's the tripod that I use for everything. It's an old tripod that I got back in college. I have a degree in photography, right? So it's the old tripod that I don't know, my parents either bought me or I bought back in college. So I've had it, maybe in high school. I don't know. Regardless, it's been with me for a long time. So one more step on the Misc list. All right, next Misc list is, this is part of it. Toilet's part of it, right? And then this is part of it, urine diverter for the toilet kit. So out of that front little hole there, I have to run a little adapter piece, which will run to this, which is tubing, which is going to go to that vent fan that it showed you, and it's going to go up to the roof. So I'm in the process of drilling holes right now. So I got a hole in the back of the toilet box here that's going to vent through behind the driver's seat and then up to the ceiling. And that's sort of next in the order of operations because that's going to run here, and then the charge controller is going to go right next to it. So I sort of need to get that vent fan in next before getting the charge controller. And so it's really not that hard. It's just drilling a few holes, but it's in weird spots. So that's what we're doing. So as I'm doing this, I just want to point out, yay, thank you, Johnny Compost. One more time, I'll plug you in this video. And one thing I love is there's no shortage, as I said earlier, no shortage of instructions on how to hook this thing up, right? They have all these pieces of paperwork on how to run the connection to the vent on one side, even on the other side, right? So Johnny Compost really knocks it out of the park here. Like, you know, how do you get it through the roof? What piece do you use? How do you put the adapters on there? How do you put it through the roof? So Johnny Compost, I highly recommend them. Again, I'll put a link in the bio or in the description below. And here it is sort of in place, right? So this is the tube. This is the tube going out through the back wall to the above. Here is basically, it's a computer fan, right, with little wires that I'll hook up into my other wire that I hooked up that goes back to the circuit panel. And then here's the other end, which I'm going to be hooking up now to the urine diverter. So I'll get that hooked up and you'll see that. And again, here's the urine diverter, and that little nub, that little 90-degree angle at the top is where the vent hooks into. So I'm going to put this in the bucket, put this in there, and then we should be ready to go. All right, so here it is on that side. So again, 5-gallon bucket, urine diverter, and I'm eventually going to put this spout, not yet, but I'm going to put it down through that hole, which will go to the belly of the beast, right? And that'll go into my gray tank. And here out of the front is the tube, which goes to that vent fan, which comes to the back here, and that goes back out the wall. And like I said, I'm going to be running that up here, so that is the next thing to do. So there's the hole, right? Another skylight, and I gotta say, each hole I drill in the ceiling gets a lot easier with each passing hole, right? Because the first few were like, oh my goodness, I couldn't take it. But you know what? They're getting easier, and that's a good thing. I think this is the last hole I need to drill in the ceiling, I hope. There it is. Tube's up there, now I gotta go up to the roof. And I don't know. The other thing I'm doing for this vent fan is making straps. Remember, this goes back to plumbing, right? When I was teaching you how to make the U-straps, right? So I have one down here at the floor, holding it against the wall. I'm gonna be putting a few more up against here to keep this thing tight to the wall before it goes out the ceiling. So that's what I'm doing now. So here's the first step. You can tell it's sort of windy, but got the flange up here. Here's the tube in there. I put butyl tape, or what I like to call beautiful tape, underneath that. Screwed the thing in, so this thing is not going anywhere. And then I'm about to silicone it. And then after that, I'll put the mushroom cap on it. The mushroom cap is this really cool, it says 3D printed. You can see little holes in there maybe for air to come through. You may or may not see those little tiny holes in there, but this is the mushroom cap that basically screws onto this, and there's a little screen you can see in my hand that I'm trying hard to not lose. So anyway, that's the next process. What I think is I'm just going to silicone, and I'll screw this thing on there, and then I'll show you that when I'm done. Alright, so there is the mushroom cap, and you can see the screen in there. I siliconed all the way around. I even siliconed the screw holes in there as well. So that is it, right? That is the it's kind of hard for this camera to focus on all the bright light. So there is the vent, roof vent in context. There is that box I was saying for the solar panel, and I do have all the connectors now for all this. I will hook that up in time. It's not an urgent matter now that I have it. Either way, so that's the vent cap, and again, thank you, Johnny Compost, for being awesome. Much appreciated. Yay. If you ever did this as a kid, make a comment, put the like button, click the like button. All right, I think that's enough for now. The Misc list is getting long, and as anyone knows, the Misc list is never done. It's never done. So with that, thank you for watching. I'm sure there'll be a Misc list part 2. And if you want to see another version of this, I'll put a link here, whatever site it pops up on, is the smaller things, but yet not less important. It's a video that I shot back at the beginning of the build when I was still in New Mexico, of all the miscellaneous stuff back then. So there was another Misc video back then just called Smaller Things. Either way, thank you for watching and enjoying, and stay tuned for the next one. And when I do get posted, I'll put the link up here eventually when there's a Misc list, part 2, 3, whatever it is. All right, be well, everyone. Thank you for watching. And don't forget, like, subscribe, share these videos, and yeah, comment on the videos. And I love comments, so keep the comments coming. And yeah, be well, everyone. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.